Oh, hi there. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today, I really wanted to talk about Mudahar's video on Keffals, and oh my god, was it 100% fire. Like, there are things that I didn't even know when kind of watching this, and I was just like, what the actual hell is kind of like going on? Some of the things that I needed to be refreshed on, because it's been a long time since obviously Keffals has properly been in like the public eye and stuff like that. But this absolutely just made me go like, holy shit, all along. So I'm going to be talking about a few things in this video, but you need to go watch Mudahar's video. So go have a look, like link in the description and pinned top comment. Also, I'm going to go over the whole tipster thing in like another video because there's tons of stuff that's kind of like popped up on that one. And I kind of just really want to go over it. But you know, he's been deleting videos. He's deleted over like 24 million views, which I'm kind of a little bit like, really on that one? It feels like he's going to be hiding something, or he doesn't want some of his videos to be kind of looked into. Also, one of the things is, now that all those videos have gone, the YouTube algorithm is going to be like, like, what do we recommend? So people talking about Tipster is going to be the only thing mainly. Anyway, more of that in another video. I'm going to be going over Mudahar's video, so please like go check that out. I've just kind of like taken parts from it to kind of talk about it. If you've never heard of Keffals, then wow, that's pretty cool. Like, everybody knows her at some point in their life. If they've been on like YouTube or anything like that, her name will pop up. You know, people know her from the Catboy Ranch. Then you've got the GoFundMe, which I've been kind of like, that was introduced, as well as, you know, more topics on the trans community, etc., etc. All of this, like, is, you know, Keffals will be around at some point, and you would have probably heard a name if you've been on YouTube. One thing that I have noticed with Keffals, it's all about her. It's all about like how she can get in the limelight, how she can get tons of different stuff. I've always seen it as everything has to be about her.
It's all about me.
So I want to start off with the Destiny thing and seeing how she got Destiny banned off Twitch at the time. Now, I've never watched Destiny. I don't like him or do not like him, so I'm kind of impartial. I just literally have nothing to do with him whatsoever.
The only evidence implicating Destiny was a quote tweet where he called her cringe. Ooh, the shock! It was posted 2 hours after the rape. Despite this, Clara and her community insisted it was his fault. Once again, there was no evidence he had any involvement, yet she used it as justification to deplatform him. Her first response was to try to get his Twitter mass reported and banned. She set her sights on his Twitch channel, launching what can only be described as a full-fledged character assassination. There are countless examples of her legitimate slander and flat-out lies about Destiny. He detailed the worst of her behavior in an extensive document he published back in 2022. And I'm only going to touch on a few examples because this video is going to be as long as it is. The first thing to point out is she was successful in depriving him of one of his main sources of income. She painted Destiny as transphobic for not supporting trans women competing in sports with cis women. Even if you disagree with this, that doesn't necessarily make Destiny transphobic. It's a fringe pressure point of a much larger, broader issue. It's a highly specific, contentious issue and an unfair characterization of his broader catalog. Regardless, her labeling garnered enough support to get Destiny banned off of Twitch within 24 hours for hate speech. She immediately took credit, gloating about taking away his primary source of income. Hey Steve, I just took away your primary source of income. Please leave me alone and stop bullying trans people for content. He picked a fight with me, he got banned, I won. This behavior was not only encouraged, but rewarded with 30,000 new followers that week.
I think going after someone's income is to be shit, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like you should take someone's income because you don't like something that they've said or something that they've done, because later on we know that she kind of tried to build a bridge back with Destiny. I feel like if you're going after someone's income for no apparent reason, or that you just don't like them but they've never done anything that bad, I think that's kind of really shit. Now, if you are an evil, if you're a bad person, fair dues. But, just someone having their own thoughts and opinions that doesn't suit with you, that isn't the best, I just don't think it's a good thing. Now, let's kind of take this in another direction. If, say, for example, everybody didn't like what Keffals has been saying for all these years, should they deplatform her? Should they go after her income? it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, as soon as it hits Keffals and her friends, that's a big naughty no-no. But if it's people that they don't like, boom, it's all going there, isn't it?
Now that he couldn't defend himself, she spread even more blatant falsehoods. The same day, she baselessly accused Destiny of stealthing, which is secretly removing a condom during sex without the partner's consent. This is generally considered a form of you-know-what, which Clara brings up in her accusation.
Oh yeah, meanwhile he stealths people, which is legitimately a form of... Insane shit.
To this day, there has never been any evidence or even an allegation made towards Destiny about this. She walked it back shortly after, which shows just how callous she is towards claims of such a serious nature. But because he was deplatformed, she was able to further a false narrative to her chat as well as tens of thousands of people on Twitter. They all either assumed she was being honest or didn't care she was slandering him because they had already disliked Destiny. In retrospect, her behavior paints a clear picture of how she would conduct herself in the future.
This to me is really shit, and the look on her face as she pulls it, it's the face that someone makes when they know they're lying and knowing that it's going to be spread far and wide. Yet Keffals would have a major breakdown if someone made something like that about them. And at the time, she was hiding behind the fact that she had blocked him, got him like banned off the places, and yet she was just like, oh hey, I can say anything I want. And to me, that is just bitch tactics. That is 100% bitch tactics. It's really shitty, to be honest, and it just proves what she's like. What annoys me is just the smirk, knowing she's going to get away with it, and until now, pretty much she did get away with it. A lot of people didn't realize that her saying that he was stealthing people, and they all thought it was true. It just irritates me when someone does this. Let's talk about the Kiwi Farms thing. I'm not going to go too much into this, but when I first heard about Keffals and what Kiwi Farms was, I thought it was this really bad site that majority of people just use it to hate on people, to kind of go hard on them, to kind of call them out, lie, do everything about it. So I kind of really never looked into it. I had a look a while ago when I was curious because I heard Keffals was saying like, oh, they've gotten the site taken down. And I wanted to kind of confirm that. I was very kind of curious after all the amount of time that she had spent trying to get rid of it. I was very curious on if it had kind of gone down. Now, when I saw the site was actually still up, I found it really strange. How can Keffals turn around and say, yeah, the site's been banned, it's been taken down, it was gone, that's it. And then it's still there. So you have a lie, one in many lies right there. Now, I'm also going to say this, which I find really fucking stupid on why people are kind of arguing, like saying like, oh, Mudahar got his evidence and stuff from the farm and it's all bad. Like trying to say like, oh, you can't use evidence whatsoever. Like if you do that, then you are a bad person. Let me paint an entire whole picture for you. Let me use the imagination brush. Now, I imagine that if everything was in court and literally it was just, oh, we got our evidence here and they cited it and it was all factual, it was all there, it was all great. Like I can imagine these people going like, oh, the case needs to be dismissed because like they got it all from the farm. Like, they can't use Kiwi Farms, like they're shit. It doesn't make sense. But I would imagine that if something was on the farms that, Keffals supporters, Keffals wanted as well, that they would wholeheartedly be like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Let's fucking go, boys. Like, this is it. Like, we've got them here. To me, just doesn't really kind of sit well. And saying that, oh, you have this evidence from the website, which is all documented, to me just says like, oh shit, everything has been documented, everything is right there, and that's what we want right now. I just find it weird that all these supporters of Keffals are like, oh, it's not real, like, they used a screenshot, they talked about it, like, fuck these people, like, it's not true. Evidence is evidence, and if you don't like it, that's fine, but it's still evidence, and it shows what Keffals has done over time.
Almost everything you've heard about this whole situation is a lie. And that's why I'm going to explore in depth in these next two sections. These are two very important aspects to the story, to address her portrayal of the swatting and how exactly the money was spent. When it comes to something as serious as swatting, it's important not to downplay its severity. This is a crime that's taken innocent people's lives. But curiously, her story began to change as time went on. The narrative set forth in her initial video is one of terror. Clara says on the 5th of August, she is awoken by police services pointing an assault rifle at her face. This specific detail is referenced in her video several times.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London police services pointing an assault rifle in my face at my home. When I was woken up by police officers and saw the assault rifle pointed at me, I thought I was going to die. I feel traumatized.
Her story then changed to an encounter in the hallway. The exact phrasing is that she went into the hallway and then saw the weapon.
The email, Sorrenti says, had given out her real address and resulted in police with guns at her doorstep and her being arrested.
When I went into the hallway and then saw that assault rifle, I screamed and I thought I was going to die.
A month later, she admitted that they didn't enter her apartment until after she was in custody.
They did not go into my apartment until after I was in custody, and they had a search warrant signed.
These next few clips are of Alex, her fiance at the time. Alex confirms she didn't wake up with a gun in her face and reveals Clara wasn't even the one to answer the door. They spoke to Alex first, who was already awake, and gave Clara enough time to put on pajamas.
So it wasn't quite that they knocked on the door and I answered. Rather, I was getting ready for the shower and there was a tremendous pounding. And so, yeah, someone did not wake her with a rifle pointed 3 inches from her face, but essentially as soon as she woke up...
Was I in a state of undress? I was naked and I had to put on a pair of pajamas that was like on the floor before I could even go out to see the police officers.
See, the story has already morphed significantly from Clara waking up to guns in her face, to seeing guns in the hallway, to police never entering the apartment at all. The lack of consistency is concerning, given she was supposed to be taking legal action against them.
This whole line to get people to donate money is horrible. You know, I can understand it at the very beginning that maybe it could have helped, but I want to say this: how can you sit there and ask for money to help you when your story has changed from a gun in the face to guns in the hallway to them being greeted by your ex-fiance, letting them in, and at the time, Keffel's getting dressed? The fact that you did this and yet you've not given the correct statement just shows you're after sympathy points in my eyes, and as well as like the massive cash bonus there because people have donated to you. It really annoys me when people do this. Just their attitude all the way through things screams, I don't get enough attention, so I need it from people on the internet. When you listen to her voice in the last point, you can hear her smiling like she's thinking, yes, yes, internet, believe me. And then she starts comparing herself to black men. You can see that she just wants to put herself in any situation to make it all about herself. Let's take this away from this and make it all about me.
Me.
We saw this a lot when it came to the Vosh stuff, but again, she's making what happened to Elijah McClain all about her in this tweet, and I'm guessing it might have been around the time people were talking about this. So she wanted the engagement on her as well. Truly classy right there, Keffels.
You stay classy.
But it's hard to take Clara's word at face value given her complete and total lack of credibility. Another key part of her story was that police had confiscated their devices, resulting in significant financial damages.
They seized both my personal and work phone, as well as the work computer that I broadcast on Twitch from. Not only that, but the police seized my fiance's cell phones and laptop, as well as their external drive, which contained the only copy of their PhD thesis and other important university documents. Because of the negligence of the police, we were both left functionally unemployed, and I have spent thousands of dollars replacing our computers and cell phones.
And this was one of her justifications to launch the GoFundMe, to recoup her losses.
I started a GoFundMe to move immediately, recoup my losses, and build a legal fund to protect my rights.
But there were no losses to recoup. The devices were returned after 3 days.
I eventually got my stuff back in like 3 days and got an apology from the chief of police.
That's nice.
So, yeah, that was really nice. Not nice how they responded to the situation, but I'll take it.
I didn't know about any of this. With all from what I've heard over the past, I thought that the police had taken her items, taken her ex-fiance's stuff, and kind of kept it for like long periods of time. And that's when I could see that, you know, they needed money, that they needed new equipment, and that's fine. Like, you know, obviously people wanted to donate to her because they love her content and they wanted to support her and everything like that. Like, that's absolutely fine. What I didn't know is that they got their items back so quickly, it's like watching a Sonic Says.
Now, if we're to believe that she meant 3 days after the swatting, that would place it on August 8th, a day before the GoFundMe started. There's also footage of Clara picking up her belongings from the police station, where you can see this property bag. It heavily resembles the property bag seen in her initial video. A close-up of one of the labels shows us a date of August 8th, 2022. This again implies that she got her stuff back before the video and GoFundMe ever even went live, and knowingly lied about needing to buy a new cell phone and computer. Even if you don't want to make that assertion, at best, she got her stuff back the next day, because this upload is dated August 10th. There is no way to reconcile these statements, and either way, it was dishonest to never update that campaign to reflect this.
Because of the negligence of the police, we were both left functionally unemployed. And I have spent thousands of dollars replacing our computers and cell phones so our lives aren't completely destroyed by what happened to us.
This all just seems like a cash grab to me. I think this was just the way to get all new equipment at the expense of her fan base. She knew she could make that money quickly via her own stream, so she just got other people to pay for it and lie to them. 3 days, like 3 goddamn days to get all her stuff. That's a small amount of time when you could be planning things, spending time with your partner, doing something different. By the time the new items would have come in, bar maybe like the phones, you would have got your stuff back. It just baffles me.
Her fans begged her to stop giving out information.
Stop giving out details. Stop telling me what to do.
Later that day, Clara tweeted, "Do I have any followers in Europe? Let me know if you want to meet up." Her first stream back revealed she was in Northern Ireland.
So, I'm okay. I am currently in Ireland. I am staying with a friend. I'm safe. Things are good. Don't tell people what country. It is completely fine. Do you know how dense Ireland is? Very dense country. I do not think it's going to be a problem.
I think this is one of the most stupidest things in the world to me. Like, I can't fathom why you would do this. You've asked for money to move away from the trolls, to get away from the harassment, you know, all that sort of stuff. But when you move, you don't tell people where you're going, which country you're in, or anything like that. It's like playing hide and seek, and when you count to 0, the other person is still standing there waving or hiding behind one of those trees that haven't grown, giggling, thinking that they're going to be fine anyway. If I were to leave my country because of the same thing, I would make sure no one knew where I was going, nothing. Like, you wouldn't be able to kind of like find me. I would be like, oh, where's Mark? Oh, yeah, he said he was going to France. No, I'm somewhere else and you'll never find me. It just baffles me on why like Keffals would do this. It just feels like this was one big holiday, sharing it, being like, hey, look, where am I? Wish you were here. When you say it's not going to be a problem, then you know it is. When people find out which hotel you were just by the bed sheets alone, and then they were able to send stuff to your hotel room, you know, they find out where you're living or where you are living at the current because of the door handles, then it's just insane what they could do to try and find you. This was just a way to brag where you were in the world and say, hi, I'm having my best life right now. Doxing is horrible and it shouldn't be a thing. I never condone it. I wouldn't even wish it on my worst enemy whatsoever. Like, doxing should never be a thing.
Not buying equipment specifically for IRL streaming and announcing where you're going to be in advance. At one point, Ellen revealed they were going to go to visit a poutine truck in Belfast. The owner received bomb threats, which Clara used to tease an IRL stream on Twitter. Hey, maybe it's a one-off mistake, right? A day later, Ellen publicly fielded suggestions for future IRL stream locations in Ireland. I want to reiterate, if you are in hiding, why would you buy new streaming equipment specifically for streaming in the public, and then also share where you plan on going in advance? By her own admission, she wanted to stoke the flames in order to maximize publicity.
By intentionally making myself a lightning rod, so I could make Kiwi Farms more vicious and attack me to the point where Cloudflare had no choice. Because every time they attacked me, I publicized it. One of the things that I did intentionally for the success of the campaign was make myself a lightning rod. I egged them on. I egged Kiwi Farms on. I wanted them to attack me. Because by doing that, I was able to show the world how fucking vile they are.
Like, why? It makes no sense to turn yourself into a lightning rod. This isn't an episode of The Flash.
Always be my lightning rod.
What annoys me is that she lied. The whole thing of moving to another country and to also get rid of online harassment doesn't work. It's a thing where people are still going to do it. I don't know why people didn't kind of really question it a bit more at the time, because you can't get rid of online harassment. Wherever you go, your username is going to be associated and people are still going to do it. It's not like you move to another country and people are like, huh, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? Where did they go? It's not like the ultimate hide and seek. But obviously Keffals would fail at that completely. I've always found it weird that this was the main train of thought. And now seeing that she just lied to people, put others in danger so she could get away from her ex-partner Alex. Now, we don't know if this is all true, as she lies, but we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. But the fact all of this was just a paid holiday. It's just a way that she could move so she could be with someone else. You think that she would have saved up and done this herself, but nope. If she had to go and lie, get money, and not use it for what it's meant to be, if I had backed anything that Keffals had done, I would be going to GoFundMe, showing him the video and saying, hey, I have been lied to. I want my money back. Like, give me my money back. I don't know if you can do this on GoFundMe, but if you can, go do it. Just literally go do it right now. This is where new allegations against the police have been made, and it baffles me a lot on this. Why wasn't this brought up originally? What I'm about to play is something that was added in. Now, to me, this is something that you wouldn't be like, whoops, I forgot, whoopsie, I did an oopsie doopsie. If this happened to me, I would have mentioned it in the first video. That way you would have been able to get everything sorted and have more of a stronger case. But just listen to this.
Is actually kind of bizarre. The complaint introduces an entirely new accusation and has somehow gone unmentioned so far. Clara alleges that an officer groped her breast and said, yeah, it's a she. The fact that we haven't heard about this before is insane. It completely changes the narrative.
What I don't understand is that wouldn't your partner at the time mention it through all the stuff that you've been talking about this? You've had guns in the face, then they were in the hallway, then they were invited in. While all of this has happened, nothing has been said about being groped and saying, yep, it's a she. This leads into something that does annoy me and what is said.
Now, this is in stark contrast to the reduced feelings and security described by Clara as a result of her inability to trust LPS. This impacted her ability to earn a living. In the 6 months since the events at issue in this application, Ms. Sorrenti has seen a reduction in income of more than 25%. That document further alleges that their treatment of Clara left her unable to leave her home. By the way of example, she feels incapable of leaving her home or socializing productively with friends and family out in the community because of a fear that LPS will continue to discriminate against her. This is patently untrue, given that the time frame is when she traveled across the world. It also doesn't make any sense to blame London police for that reduced income. And it only gets crazier when you realize the complaint seeks $125,000 in damages. Accordingly, the applicant seeks the following remedies: a declaration that the LPS discriminated against the applicant contrary to Section 1 of the Code. In order for damages, of the injury to applicants' dignity, feelings, and self-respect in the total amount of $75,000, and an order that LPS compensate the applicant for the loss of income suffered and other special damages incurred as a result of the discriminatory plus interest therein in the amount of $50,000.
The fact is, she's been lying to people about that she's scared on leaving her place, because when you go around Europe, it debunks it all. When looking at this case, they could easily turn around, look at where you've been going, looking at all these live streams on the stuff that you've been going, all the tweets and stuff that's just out there, and go, yeah, this isn't happening, and throw it out because you've lied. Like, why? I think what bothers me that you're lying. So what else are you lying about? Is it just so you can get your way? What also annoys me is that she's asking them to pay for damages, not earning while she didn't have equipment, but she got it all back quicker than the Flash can get from A to B. I don't know how much Keffel makes on average per stream. If you're suing for this much, they should be able to look at your earnings period over, say, a couple of days, or maybe for the month, while she's streaming. If she had any supporters, etc., etc., or is she just throwing a random number like shit at a wall, hoping that something will literally stick? It's just fucking crazy. What we're about to talk about, I think that this needs to be talked about very carefully. When it comes to transitioning, I'm all for it. If you don't feel comfortable in your own skin and you want to change it, then I'm all for it. I think it's a good thing. I'm all for that if it's done with medical professionals, because they know the right things to do. They know about the right dosages, which ones would be right for you, how to make your transitioning a lot clearer and a lot more easier so you're not kind of frustrated. But if you're buying HRT from people who aren't medically trained, then this to me becomes a problem, because what if they get something wrong? What happens if they mess it up? It's not going to be them who pay for it. It's going to be the person who's started the treatment, that it could affect them in so many different ways. And it's not fair if they have to go through hell.
It's already questionable to endorse what are effectively unregulated drugs. It's even worse to explicitly advocate for their use by minors. Keffels bragged about donating thousands of dollars a year to the site to help people get access to HRT before the age of 18. She said, "I do not give a single shit what you think. I am doing nothing wrong, nor will I ever back down." The directory was even added as a link to her website, with an accompanying chat command. By then, she was marketing her community as a safe space for teenagers. As a former trans kid who is now a trans adult, I want to say, to all the young trans people who follow me, I love you, I care about you, and I will fight for you. We will win. There is hope for people like us in this world. They cannot and will not keep us down. I have no opposition to providing safe access to HRT for trans people who need them, right? That's just a thing. If doctors can come in and there's a way to safely do it 100%, get the proper people involved, not me, not Keffels the activist, both of us are clearly not doctors, sure. But it is dangerous to condone questionable individuals with shady histories like Keffels and deceitful messaging to illicitly offer these treatments online, especially to minors. The directory was created by an individual known as Bob Posting, or Chloe. Chloe and Clara have a long history of friendship together. Chloe thanked Keffels for her sponsorship and even got brought on stream to promote the site. She would reply to Clara on Twitter, 1,000 minors on HRT. Her association sparked backlash after people began to notice her bizarre fixation on secretly sending HRT to minors. I've unironically helped like a half a dozen minors acquire bathtub estrogen. No one tell them I've helped more than one minor order. I don't groom children, I just show dozens of kids every week how to buy bathtub estrogen with cryptocurrency, and how to hide it from their parents. What are you talking about? The directory does, in fact, take cryptocurrency, and at one point even instructed minors on how to buy Bitcoin. If you're a minor, get a trusted adult to purchase Bitcoin for you, or go to your local BTC ATM. Chloe has also referenced minors in relation to an act known as pink pilling, the act of convincing someone that they are trans on multiple occasions. Pink pilling minors is based, actually, if they reach out and express a desire for HRT. I have unironically pink-pilled like half a dozen minors, and by pink pill, I mean point them to HRT resources after they reach out. So when this was brought to the public's attention, several changes to the site were made. They removed Otokonoko Pharmaceuticals and implemented a site-wide age warning. This seems to contradict their explicit advocacy for minors to use the site. 2 days later, Chloe announced she would no longer be involved in the directory. Keffel similarly distanced herself and her sponsorship vanished. She has tried to downplay her accusation ever since, and this is what she had to say earlier this year when questioned about the directory. I gave a wiki site $500 a month and they put my website link in the banner. This was the extent of my involvement. I have never produced or distributed or even purchased DIY hormones. I didn't sell anything to trans minors, and I wasn't involved in production or distribution. Clara didn't just endorse it, she was friends with the creator who openly gloated about pink pilling minors. She even joked about it with Clara on stream.
I wanted you on the stream because I have a lot of trans youth who watch the stream, so you gotta like chill your pink pilling stuff.
Wow, I have the perfect resource for you. So I am pretty well known for those who don't know. People know me for like being knowledgeable about DIY HRT and how to, access DIY HRT. And so I have this site, which people are already sending a link in chat, is if the mods want to like plug that would be amazing.
I think it's interesting to see how Keffel said that she wasn't a part of it, but only giving $500 per month to have a link there. Then goes on saying that she would only get it from a doctor. You know, those people with medical information that can do the right thing, but yet she's telling Chloe on stream to shill her site so she can pink pill people and get more information. Now, if you're saying you get it from a doctor all the time, then wouldn't you be saying speak to medical professionals only rather than to get one up on people, getting them on a homemade version of it? It's always the way Keffel's laughs. Like, it's giving the middle finger to the parents and saying, we're better than the medical professionals.
So for this is from the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency in the United Kingdom. And if we look closely over here, you can see that we investigate the criminal supply of illegal medicinal products. And during one of our investigations, the following domain name has come to our attention: vanapharma.org. Internationally, every jurisdiction has its own law, blah, 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 blah. So what they actually were hit with over here, the violations, is Regulation 46, where a person may not sell or supply or offer to sell or supply a medicinal product otherwise than in accordance with the terms, okay? And of course, Regulation 214, which is a person may not sell or supply a prescription-only medicine except in accordance with a prescription given by an appropriate practitioner. And of course, Regulation 279, which is a person may not publish an advertisement for a medicinal product unless one of the following is in force of the product. So yeah, they got hit with something, and again, before anybody in their camp says whatever they were doing with the DIY HRT directory was legal, this is a clear example of how what they were doing was actually not, and it required governmental intervention. And this is a clear example of government regulation kicking in and proving that what they were doing wasn't exactly above board.
It just goes to show that all of this bathtub HRT is actually illegal to sell. And this leads into something else that Mudahar brings up, and that's if anyone criticizes Keffels, then she calls them transphobic. Now, I feel over time, the more that this word is used to people who actually aren't transphobic and are actually wanting to see people transition safely, then the word loses meaning in itself. It's not something that should be thrown around when used when there isn't any form of evidence to say that person is transphobic. I just feel like this is a way to kind of like take the heat off Keffels and throw it onto someone else, and that people see this and then they go straight for that person without not actually researching, just listening to what Keffels has to say. But with selling bathtub HRT and selling it to minors, it just makes me think if it's never been properly tested or passed by the medical standards, I would think that this is more dangerous than most. So why are you trying to put people in danger?
They also say, I guess one of their problems is that you are supporting young people, young trans people who didn't have access to hormones. You are telling them how to make homemade hormones.
Oh my gosh. No, I I don't know how to make homemade hormones. I noticed the new thing is they're saying that I'm teaching people how to make hormones in their bathtub, which just sounds insane.
Even though you're not saying that you know how to make it, you are telling people, or did tell people, should I say, to go to a place where you could get it. Wouldn't it actually be better to actually talk about how to get HRT safely and through the proper channels than thinking that you're going to own certain parents?
This is where the story gets even darker, because we have to look at Maya's interaction with another user named Danny. Username is syntheshere. Danny publicly bragged about getting Maya on DIY HRT when she was a minor. About to start bragging that I got Maya on HRT when she was a minor, Maya began ordering from Otokonoko Pharmaceuticals a month after turning 17. I'm about to take the pink pill, still cis though. This all was with assistance from the DIY HRT directory. A year later, she was so unhappy with her results, she actually called out and blocked Chloe on Twitter. What happened? She got pissed about her hormone results? I mean, that wouldn't be Chloe's fault because that's not something she can control. Everyone reacts differently to that stuff. Also, there's different dosages. The two would end up having an argument about the specifics of HRT. Chloe calls Maya an idiot, and Maya says this: fuck DIY, fuck all of this. I don't know how this happened. My regimen didn't change since my last test. I am so done with listening to these quacks online who pretend that they're better than actual doctors. As Maya herself stated, these people are not doctors. And someone like Chloe should not be allowed to posture herself as some kind of authority on the subject. No one without any proper credentials should. Not me, not Chloe, not Keffels, not anyone. Maybe it would be less of an issue if everyone involved in the situation was a legal adult. But as we've demonstrated in the last 5 minutes, they are not. Clara explicitly advocated for the DIY HRT's directory's use by minors, while clearly aware of her friend's activities, behaviors, and history.
When I saw this next part, this to me was incredibly dangerous. Reading the tweets of their testosterone going up that high, and that the others are like, "Oh no, sweetie, this is not how you do that." Or, "Oh no, you're an idiot for that. Oh no." If you wanted to start HRT again, if you wanted to carry it on, talk to a professional doctor, get medical advice, rather than listening to people online. And also reading the tweet from Chloe saying, you need to change the E-dose, etc., just makes me think, why are you pretending to be a doctor? Then seeing other people's kind of talk down to Maya, even though Keffel says she wasn't involved, the fact all of this was homemade should set off alarms, to be honest. I just never get it, because why would you put someone in danger? Like, you're not even medically trained. Like, you're fucking not even medically trained. There is so much more in Mudahar's video that I highly recommend you go and watch it. And seeing the entire video for itself, to me, I am completely in shock about a lot of stuff in there. I can't imagine how someone can get away with all of this. The lying to the audience, the whole thing where the money is being spent on different things, and just all the lying. The way that she complains about things being done to her, yet she goes out and does the same to other people and then laughs about it. There is so much more I could have talked about, but I know this video is long regardless. Anyway, I am gonna leave it there. What do you think about this whole Keffel stuff? What do you think about everything that's going on? There will be more videos on this, I just have to write them. Anyway, I am gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I will leave it there. Thanks for watching.